Citadel has been a fascinating company and it's had a tremendous amount of success over the last few years. How would you characterize the hallmarks of the strategy that you followed?
I think first, we're a control investors. We do not go for minority investments. That's clear for us. So the idea is to create platform companies, regional champions, if you wish, and to use those Egyptian companies as platform companies where you launch to multiple markets, taking opportunities of the various opportunities that exists across the entire region. So I think that is very important. That although to remember that although the companies themselves are in Egypt, most of their investments are outside of Egypt, or and it really depends on the more mature company. You will find probably 50, 60, 70, 80% of their investments outside of Egypt. But the ones that have just been bought or are just been in existence, the asset base outside of Egypt is not yet fully developed. So Egypt is a launching pad, and you go from that to investments within the region, each one in its own industry specializations.
But you've resisted the temptation in large part to go and find companies which are based or have a home base in Turkey or Tunisia and so forth?
Turkey. So far, Turkey has been outside of our natural advantage within the region. I think we have a good network within the region. It's a it's a very large region, right. Very large economies, and with very little companies, industrial companies or private sector development within that region. So for us to start going to Turkey, right, before we can take the advantage of the opportunity that exists within the region does not make sense for us. In order to be able to have a platform company, you need that platform company right across the road from you. Because the level of interaction in the first periods until the strategy is fully developed, until the management team you feel comfortable with, until we are control investors and we go visit those companies fairly frequently. At least 2, 3, 4 times a year. You go actually tour the facilities, speak to the top management, because if you sit on the board and you can fantasize about the capabilities that you have within the company, and there is nothing. You need to adjust. I don't want to say you adjust your strategy based on the people, but you need to understand that those people cannot implement the strategy, and hence they ought to be replaced. So
in some sense, even though most of the companies you're investing in are sort of in more mature sectors, in some ways it sounds like you're almost more like a venture capitalist than a traditional buyout investor.
In many instances, we act as venture capital firms. We do acquisitions, a lot of acquisitions, but we also do venture capital. It's in a sense there is a lot of what we do with that would fall in a Western context under a venture capital.
Now, one question that's on everyone's mind is how the dislocations that we're seeing globally are going to affect the region here, and particularly in terms of private equity.
I think I think there are multiple points that we need to talk about. The first thing is what's happening on the credit markets and the lack of acquisition finance, and that's a phase that will pass. Whether it is 3 months from now, 6 months from now, I'm talking about the restoration of the credit markets. The second phase, which is the impacts of what has happened on the real economy, and that's with us for quite some time. In terms of global recession, in terms of our investment plans, in terms of our strategies, in terms of critically looking at the various pieces and at each portfolio company so that we are able to address the new global realities, and those are with us for some time. The third impact is on the risk appetite on the asset class itself, and for me, I think that's with us for some time. I'm not saying that the asset class is gone or that this is, but I think that people will have a totally changed risk profile in the next period of time, as opposed to what we have seen over the last 5 years, probably since 9/11.
And do you see it affecting many of the companies in your portfolio, the recession, because of the links to the global economy, or will they basically be the strengths of the region?
I think there's certainly going to be impacts. One, on exports. Two, on financing. Some of even in the Gulf, we think of the Gulf as a pool of liquidity, never-ending pool of liquidity that is, you can come in and you can stuff your pockets to the hilt and you leave. Not true. There are pools of liquidity, obviously, but a lot of the projects that were announced in the Gulf were relying on the international credit markets, and as you know, that is not there. So I think there will be competition and crowding from the more established firms for credits emanating from the region. Those were historically getting credits from the international markets. So that though they have to tap the liquidity in the market, and there will be crowding, and that we will have to live with for quite some time.